sugar cane.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in another part of the world. I don't know. I would like to know about sugar cane as part of the meat process.
Interesting. Sugar cane.
Sugar cane juice, okay?
Yeah, I've never used that, but the sugar that I use when I make the granulated sugar that I use when I make a fruit wine is cane sugar.
Yeah.
But I've never used the cane juice because it's a bit more of a commodity to get here. If I wanted, I've bought sugar cane a couple of times for cooking, but they're really expensive and you don't get much out of them. So it's not something that grows easily around here, so it's not something I can get my hands on very easily. All I've used so far for making wines has been the granulated sugar.
Yeah, well, yes, I can imagine that. Yeah, I want curious because there is a resources here. And also, if the second question, if it is possible to make, there's something that I have on my mind, if it is possible to make mead with sugarcane juice partially, so in which category will be classified the mead at the end? It's not melomel, it's not metal gin. So, any experience?
Okay. Well, technically, if you want the technical definition of what would still qualify as a mead, at least 51% of the sugar would have to come from honey.
Yes, right.
Okay, so
I would say using 20% or 10 or 20% sugarcane.
Yeah.
The rest is honey.
Okay, so if you were using
And how would you classify it?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a traditional. It's not going to be a melomel. What else are you putting in there, Luis, besides the sugar cane? Just sugar cane and honey and what?
That's it. No, just
the sugar cane
and water. For sure.
Okay. That would be, from a judging standpoint, if you were in a competition, that's going to be other. So it's going to be other than traditional. So it would not have a specific classification because it doesn't fall into any one of the classifications. I'd be interested to try it, though. I love sugarcane. It's the most interesting thing. And my only experience with sugarcane was getting to eat a piece of it in elementary school when I had a teacher who brought some home from a trip to South America.
Okay.
So that would be. I would be interested to see how that would turn out.
Well, in this case, I have to do the task.
Yeah.
and the test on a batch, and let's see in a couple of, I would say, in a few months.
Yeah.
A year or so.
Well, and you are more than welcome to document, what you're doing and how it's working on Got Mead on the forums if you want. I'm sure there'd be plenty of people who would have a lot of questions to ask you and possibly advice to give as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure there's lots of people who'd be interested in that.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
there's a fair number of them that also speak Spanish, so you might be able to get some stuff going there too. You're in Costa Rica, right?
Yes, right.
Okay. Have you visited Costa Rica Meadery?
Not yet. I just contacted them weeks ago, and I hopefully to be there in a few days.
Okay.
I contact them. I also support them. The gentleman on the company was looking for a kind of fruit supply, so I help him with the contacts I have. So it was good because then I know that he received the information he was looking for. So we are really in contact with each other.
Yeah, that's Noe Palacio, yeah? If I remember right.
Who?
Is it I'm trying to remember. I think is it Noe that's Costa Rica Mead?
It's Michael.
Michael. Okay. All right, I'm thinking of somebody else, and I have another friend in Central America. Oh, Noe's in El Salvador. That's it.
El Salvador, right?
Yeah, Noe's in El Salvador. There's another friend of mine who's in El Salvador, also has a meadery, and that's who I was thinking of. But yeah, Costa Rica Meadery, if I remember correctly, Costa Rica Meadery has won at least one medal in North America with their mead. They're a little
last year, I think so. Yep.
Yeah. So I remember seeing them pop up and thinking that was really, really great. So yeah, they're making good mead. They're good people to get to know. Don't be afraid to tell them you know me if that'll help. I don't know if it will or not, but it never hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, they have one in the Master Cup International. Yep.
Okay. How I don't know where you live in Costa Rica, but how far or how hard is it? How difficult is it to get to El Salvador?
It's not difficult. There are bus. I think 2 or 3 times a week, maybe more. And flights every day. Few flights every day, up and down to Salvador. It's maybe a 1 hour flight from Costa Rica to El Salvador.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's not far.
If you can go, Noe Palacios is the owner there, and he is a wonderful man and very friendly, and we have spoken at length. And he actually came to the Mazer Cup one year, if I remember right. But he has also won medals and makes very good mead. So, would be another good contact in your part of the world of people who may have hands-on experience, or specific experience with working with sugarcane. They don't.
Yeah, I'm super good contact. I have him now. I have him on the Facebook page, so I send a friend request.
Yeah, and again, don't be afraid to say you're a friend of Vicky Rowe, because Noe knows me. So that would make it easier for him to go, oh, okay, that you're, another one of the Got Mead folks, so.
Super.
Yeah.
Super. Well, Vicky, you are making the world smaller and smaller.
It's my job. It's my job, Luis.
Super. Yeah.
I just connected a gentleman from Norway with a friend of mine in Poland, who is looking for mead festivals and get-togethers and events in Europe. So, yeah. So I got a contact from, and I'm sure I'm mangling his name, Kjetil Naibo. He's in Norway, and he was contacting me about finding mead in Europe, which apparently, oddly enough, given our conversation just now with Ken, mead in the Scandinavian countries is difficult to locate. I know of less than 5 meaderies in all of the Scandinavian countries combined, and apparently the alcohol laws there in most of the countries there are such that it's very difficult to become a professional mead maker. So, or to open a shop to sell, mead professionally as a producer. And so I'm getting contacts from people in Norway and Sweden and Finland going, where can we find mead? And I'm going, but you were where the Vikings were. Thinking, this should not be this hard. Obviously, the rules have changed a little since the Vikings left. But, putting people together, connecting people, Luis, is part of what I do, so...
Yes, I know. I sing. Excellent.
It is my pleasure to do so. It's one of the things I like doing in life, so definitely. AJ, what were you planning on talking about tonight? A little bit more JAO?
Actually, give me a second to get to my list here, because my computer is not cooperating.
Of course not. It never does when we need it to work.
Actually, yeah. Actually, we had a question.
That's
a Got Me question.
Yeah.
Some who I've lost the email. I can't remember whose name it was, but was asking about. was asking about substitutions when you can't get a hold of things like yeast nutrients and Go Firm and all the stuff that everybody's always talking about using. And one of the things specifically for yeast nutrients that people will use is take some bread yeast and microwave it until it starts to smell funny. You know, mix it with water and then microwave it until it starts to smell funny, and that will give you most of the guts of the yeast is something that new yeast will be able to use.
Okay, so that makes this basically creates yeast nutrient at that point. Yeah,
it's kind of a less refined version of the yeast nutrient. It's not straight DAP, which is a lot easier for them to grab. And there's a little bit of extra stuff that might be a little bit funky, so you probably don't want to leave it sitting on the lees if you do that too much.
Okay.
That would be one of those things where I wouldn't leave it for too long, because I don't know if you've ever microwaved yeast in the microwave, but it stinks. My husband complains every time I've done that. And because I can't get a hold of Fairmade O, which is the stuff that you can give your yeast after they're done their breeding cycle. And so I occasionally, when I'm having a stinky batch, I'll microwave some bread yeast and chuck that in, and usually it fixes it up for me. But it stinks to high heaven, and it's not the thing, because there's not just the nutrients that the yeast need in there, there's also dead yeast. And one of the reasons why you want to rack is so that you're not ending up with autolyzed yeast causing off flavors. You don't want to leave it sitting around for too long if that's what you're using in place of a yeast nutrient.
Okay. So if you're doing a poor man's yeast nutrient like that, then definitely rack off of it as soon as it's ready to go.
Yeah, like I wouldn't feel bad leaving it I wouldn't feel bad leaving it 3 or 4 weeks if your fermentation's a little bit sluggish, but after that I'd probably want to rack it.
Okay. I've got the email here.
At least get it off the gross lees.
Okay. Got the email here. It's from Eric Bosick. Hi, Eric. And yeah, he asked about the discussion of yeast nutrients for yeast that are commonly available in a grocery store. So, and he says,
you can get bread yeast works fine.
Okay. He says AJ may be able to work this into a discussion of how to create a balanced JOA variant.
I actually find that the JOA is fairly balanced as long as you follow a couple of basic rules, but I was going to do that on a separate JAO discussion when everybody else is around. But the basic rules for me, I'll just give you the short and dirty. The basic rules for a JAO for me are, for 1 gallon of mead, you want 3.5 pounds of honey, and you want enough acidity from the fruit that the residual sweetness is not going to screw anything up. And also you have to use bread yeast. If you use wine yeast, it's not a JAO.
Correct.
If you use more or less honey, it's a very modified JAO. And if you don't put enough acidity from your fruit, it's going to be, what's the term, flaccid? It doesn't have any bite to it, and it's just like honey water.
Yeah, it's thin and
you need a little bit of acidity.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you need. Well, the thing is, it comes out more syrupy, really. But what you want is a little bit. It's like it's like drinking a soft drink. They put an awful lot of sugar in there, but they also put an awful lot of acidity in there to balance it. So it's the same thing with the JAO. You need to balance your sweetness against your acidity, and you just have to make sure you use whatever fruit it is you choose. You need to use enough of it that there's going to be. You need to use enough of it that it'll have some of the flavor. Like I found, 1 handful of strawberries is insufficient and also doesn't give enough acid. So if you're trying to use a fruit, you don't want to put too much of it in, but it's not very acidic, then I would suggest, juice from half an orange or a lemon.
Okay.
Just to acidify it just a little bit, because the acidity is one of the critical things. I don't find the bitterness is so critical, but then again, I've also been making JAO without the orange pith since I discovered it gives me heartburn. So pretty much every JAO I make is modified because I'm not using the pith. I use a zester, and I use the zest and the juice, but the juice is for acidity, and the zest is for the flavor.
Okay. So we've got Paul Johnson coming in on the Got Mead on the Got Mead Facebook page. Hi, Paul.